Yes,
Okay.
of course. So, clearance lights properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked. Should be amber in color and working properly at all times. Front headlights not missing, properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked. High beams and low beams, turn signals left and right, and four-way flashes should be amber in color and working properly at all times. Check underneath truck for any leaks, wires, or hoses hanging. Coolant reservoir is properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked, not leaking, and filled to the proper level. Cap is always tight and secure, and I will add coolant here when my truck is cool enough to do so. Individual hoses have no abrasion, bubbles, or cuts, not leaking, and clamps are secured on both ends of hoses. Water pump, belt driven, properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked, not leaking, and belt shaft no more than 3/4 inch of plate. Alternator, also belt driven, properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked, and belt should not have more than 3/4 inch of plate. No missing nuts or bolts. No loose wires, all in good condition. No illegal tapes, and wires are not frayed. My power steering reservoir is properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked, not leaking, filled to the proper level. Cap is tight and secure. My hoses have no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, not leaking, and clamps are secured on both ends of hoses. My oil dipstick, this is where I check my oil to make sure it's at the proper level at all times. Oil cap is always tight and secure, and I will add oil here when necessary. My power steering pump is properly mounted to my air compressor, not bent, broken, or cracked, not leaking. Air compressor is gear driven, not bent, broken, or cracked, not leaking. Steering shaft, no more than 2 inch of free play, properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked. U-joints are properly lubricated on both ends. Our steering gearbox and hoses properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked, not leaking. Steering linkage consists of my pitman arm, my drag link, steering knuckles, and tie rod ends are all properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked. My castle nuts and my cotter pin are all properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked, not missing. My spring mount is properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked, no missing bolts. My leaf spring is also properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked, not shifted. Secured with U-bolts and spacers. U-bolts properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked, no missing bolts, and properly secured to the axle. My shock absorber is properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked, and not leaking any hydraulic fluid. My brake air lines and hoses have no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, not leaking. My brake chamber. Clamps around the chamber are secured, properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked. Slack adjuster. My slack adjuster is properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked. My push rod is properly mounted to my slack adjuster, not bent, broken, or cracked. No more than 1 inch of free play when brakes are released. My brake drum is properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked. No illegal welds. My brake shoes should have no less than 1/4 inch of thickness. My brake lining is properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked, free from any oil, grease, debris, and white powder. My tractor tire is inflated to 100 psi or manufacturer specification, and I will check tire pressure with a tire gauge. Tire depth no less than 432, even worn. No recap in front tire. No nails, no screws, no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. Valve stem is not bent, broken, or cracked, not leaking. My rim is properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked. No illegal welds. All my lug nuts are present, none missing. No shiny treads or rust shows that would indicate that they are loose. And my hub seal is properly mounted, not bent, broken, or cracked, not leaking, and filled to the proper oil level.